we talk about making more money, but let's just say you are making decent money. Um, which way I want to go? I'm trying to think of which way I want to go with this. So I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna share my screen again. So actually, I want to go in this direction. Uh, yeah, I'm gonna go in this direction. Uh, and I'm gonna fire them off. We're not gonna spend a long time on this, but 9 services that poor people spend on that the rich and middle class don't.
I like this.
We're not gonna spend a lot of time here, and like, so I'm gonna just fire them off, fire them off. And if it resonates with you, hey, we got some work to do. High fee checking accounts. Lower income people
Mm.
often cannot keep a high enough balance in their checking account to waive any monthly fees. That's a sign that we got to get our money. Taxis and ride shares. Lower income people often need to rely on public transportation. If they live in a city with unreliable transportation or limited service, they'll need to shell out funds for a costly taxi or ride share across the city. Someone said that they spend nearly $200 a month on ride shares. Heck, well, that's still cheaper than a car note with the gas,
Yeah,
with the insurance, and the
that's what I'm
maintenance.
saying.
So
That's
I,
what I'm saying.
so I'm actually I hear what they're saying, but at the same time,
Yeah.
I'm gonna challenge that one a little bit right now. Just I'm gonna challenge that one a little bit. Um, if they only spend $200 a month now, uh, so I'm a, pawn shops, thrift store.
Mm. Oh, the thrift stores is interesting. Wow.
When I saw the thrift stores, I don't. Let me see where they're going with this. Uh, the pawn shops. Yeah, I don't ever go to no pawn shop. That's why many lower income individuals rely on pawn shops, uh, or thrift stores. They offer a way to stretch their dollars further, but it can sometimes mean sacrificing quality, a choice compared to higher end retailers. He said, "Okay, uh, thrift stores, eh." Because I mean, you might find some gems in thrift stores. So I don't want to,
Yeah.
but the pawn shops, yeah, I never go to pawn shop. And and so what they're probably referencing is like when people are pawning things and then hoping they're gonna come back and get it, but because
Right.
they need to bridge themselves until the next check come. But what ends up
I
happening,
know.
you probably rarely ever get a chance to get back to the black to actually go and buy the thing back.
Mm,
You usually stay in the red.
interesting. Yeah, I never really thought about that part of the pawn shop. Because I've never been to one either, but I always just knew it as a place to go just basically sell your things. I just always looked at it, you basically selling it. Like I never ever thought that people would go take their items there and ever hope to get it back.
Yeah, yeah. Interest and cash advance fees. Lower income people often live check to check when money is so tight that bills cannot be paid on time. They often need to rely on payday loans and cash advance services with extremely high interest rates. It's dang near predatory.
Yeah.
Sometimes folks with lower income find themselves in a tough spot financially, perhaps due to not having access to traditional banks or facing challenges with their credit history. Yeah, if their credit not right, you're gonna pay more car insurance. Uh, if you can afford a home, you're gonna pay more. You're gonna have a higher rate. Yeah, all the things. Yeah, so we got to stop using those check cashing spots if that's resonating with you. If it's not, then it doesn't apply. Rent to own stores. Imagine needing the new fridge or sofa, but not having the credit score to finance it traditionally. If you rent it in that place, that interest gonna be high. When you can't pay all at once and credit's not an option, it's a way to fill your home without waiting. It does end up costing more because sometimes you don't have the luxury of choices.
Right.
We recommend paying cash for those type of things, saving up the money till you can get it. Processed foods. Lower income people often work multiple jobs and want to minimize meal prep time. Therefore, they often buy frozen or processed foods that take a minimal amount of prep time. When I was making a lower income and working two jobs, my diet was higher in processed foods. I remember in college, boy, all that processed food we used to be eating, man. And you know
Yeah.
what's crazy? I actually can empathize here a little bit because you don't know what you don't know. You think you eating healthy in the like the thing Nutri-Grain bar. I thought that was healthy.
They tell you it is though.
No. Uh
Cereal.
cereal. That's just a dessert with milk.
Right, yep.
Uh
What else?
what else frozen stuff I used to get? Hot Pocket. I remember we used to smash them Hot Pockets. Uh Man, just just crazy stuff that now when you look back, you like, man, I cannot believe I thought that was healthy. Man, that's crazy.
Chips.
Just processed food, man. Grocery delivery services.
Mm,
Lower income people are often short on time, so they may opt to have their groceries delivered. When I was on a lower income and did not have access to a vehicle, I spent an additional $50 a month on grocery delivery fees.
yep. I used to use one of these. I mean, but this was back when I was in undergrad, and it didn't really make sense for me to have a car because I lived 10 minutes from the campus, or 10 like a 15-minute walk. So I know I wasn't really parking on campus like that. But I guess it depends on your area. If you live in an area where it makes sense to have a car, it really don't make sense to have unless you're just that busy. You don't need no delivery service fee, but I mean, you don't need to get no delivery service like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Housing costs. I talked about that one. Uh, because it's gonna be expensive. Renting an apartment can definitely be more convenient than home ownership in terms of repairs and maintenance, but landlords also have to make a living and you're the one who's paying for it. They always say that. Like that's that narrative that they always trying to paint to have you go into home ownership. Nothing wrong with it if you're ready for it. Now, this is the part to be mindful of. If you do manage to buy a house, you'll probably be stuck paying for private mortgage insurance if you don't put down at least 20%. So that's something to be mindful of there. Because basically you are paying for the insurance so the bank can be protected. Like
Mm,
think about that. Like, and the fact that you're making payments on it, let's be clear. Anytime that you have debt, anytime you owe somebody money, I got something for you. The rich, Proverbs 22:7-9. We're going to church for a quick minute. The rich rules over the poor, and the borrower is slave to the lender. Remember that.
mm.
Remember that. The borrower is always slave to the lender. Insurance coverage. You got bad credit, you definitely they're gonna get you with them auto and renter insurance policy. You're going to pay more. That's just a fact. Insurance coverage. No need to read that. But yeah, so when you hear those things, overall, those are the 9 things that poor people use. Some of them were kind of debatable. That's why we added a little commentary to it. Um, but what are your thoughts overall when you're hearing that?
Something, I don't know if people talk about this enough, but people always say money. We always hear people talk down on money or the desire of money is root of all evil. But something that one of my takeaways from hearing these is that money is almost like a shield. Money can shield you from having to deal with certain predators.
Mm,
Predators can smell. It's crazy. It's almost like you would think, nah, if I'm a criminal or if I'm a scammer, I'm going after the big fish because that's where the money's at. But nah, I can just become really good at snatching up these little fishes. I don't know if I can steal $1,000. I don't know if I can steal 100, but I see a bunch of $10 bills that nobody would notice if they went missing.
mm,
You know what I'm saying? And so one thing I noticed is that when you're poor and you don't have as much money, like I said, you become more vulnerable to these type of things, and you will let like, especially on that last one you was talking about the PMI. I knew about it and I've always heard about private mortgage insurance, but just for some reason, the way you broke it down, it made me think we let these banks and big companies, we let them do stuff that we would never let fly, like on a personal level. Like, could you
Right.
imagine a friend taking out a loan from you and saying, "Hey, by the way, I'm worried you might not pay it back. So can you give me another $10, by the way?" Like, huh? So, but when you broke, you feel like you don't have options. And maybe the audience can y'all relate to this? Leave a comment. I don't know, but tell me, for some reason, I think that when a man or just a human period, when they're broke, it it can really do something to you, and it can drive you to do some things that you would not normally do. Well, at least when you perceive that you're broke, I'll put it like that, because you might be up. What you're broke might be someone else's rich, but to you in your mind, once if you find that you're broke, you start acting broke, and that's why the
Mm.
predators are able to say, he think he broke, so he's want to spend some money to try to get something that don't exist. He's trying to get the money to try to shortcut the process. Come here.
He said, "Come here." That might be the title. Are you acting
Come
broke?
here.
Acting broke? Like we'll play around with that.
Okay.
That might be
Come
that might be the episode title. Interesting. Yeah. Any what I learned, man, anytime you're dealing with quick, I done been there, done that, bro. Like it just take way longer when you trying to cut a short when you trying to find a shortcut. Cause then when you go down the shortcut, you realize the shortcut didn't work. And so now you got to double back and go and try to do it
here.
the right way when you'd have been further along doing it the right way. But now you even further in the hole because you was trying to find a quick fix. And so when I see stuff like, the credit repair stuff, and I'm not, and things of that nature, let me tell you how credit repair works. It's easy. Pay your bills on time. How do you keep good? How do you have good credit? Pay your bills on time.
That's funny.
That's the hack. That's the
Wow.
secret.
And expose the industry. Oh man.
Just pay your bills on time.
Wow.
Pay your bills on time.
That's funny.
You know, and I'm saying, of course, it's a little bit more to it than that. But but when you're hearing all this stuff, it's like, oh, what they don't want you to know, and pay me so I can show you, man, in your local market, you can easily find a nonprofit or something that will help people with their credit, and it'll be holistic, helping you, get your credit together. You don't got to pay somebody a whole bunch of money to do credit repair. Been down that path. Some of it is fraudulent, but you're using statutes and codes to get stuff removed, but you actually did take out that debt. And so now you kind of fraudulently lying about it. And so it just, because you're trying to get something fast versus like, whether you succeed in getting it done or getting stuff removed, even if you actually did not pay that, or you actually, it was your debt, and you're telling them, well, no, you need to validate that it was mine based on this law. I get it. I understand the play. I get it. But guess what is but guess what's not being addressed? You. You
Mm.
still are bringing you with that new credit, even if you are able to finesse it and get it increased. Guess what's gonna happen? It's gonna eventually end up back where it was if you hadn't learned the disciplines and the behaviors on what it take to have good credit. Because having good, first of all, let's take a step back. First, you got to understand the credit game. You get rewarded for being a good debt payer.
Mm.
You are a person that has gotten really good at paying debt and interest back to someone else, and you get rewarded. And you talk about UI and UX. Basically, the way the system works, it's gamifying credit, and and how you keep a score is having this high score, and you're getting this feeling of having good credit, and it keeps you in debt. Like, and so in order to keep a credit score, you gotta stay in debt. Like, you gotta keep the thing going, because if you pay off all your debt, eventually, you're not gonna have a credit score. And so you gotta ask yourself at the end of the day, who does this benefit me staying in this cycle of credit card, like having a good credit score, keep making payments? Because you'll hear people say crazy stuff like, oh, take out this little loan so you can just keep it going. Like, just the stuff that you hear sometimes. Like, but let's break it down. Who issues credit card typically?
Banks.
So okay, that's one. When you get a mortgage, who's issuing the mortgage?
Banks.
When you have a credit card, did we say that one already?
Yep.
Okay.
The banks.
Auto loan. Who issues auto loan?
The dealer or the bank.
But even if you're getting it at the dealer,
they got a bank they working with.
Who's the common denominator in this one again?
The bank, for sure.
What else can we get loans on?
Shoot, anything. You heard Klarna, Afterpay, you get loan anything.
If you just go to maybe you just want to go to your bank to get a loan. You just get a little installment loan, personal signature loan, whatever. Who is issuing that to you?
The bank.
So you're hearing a common denominator in all these things. Who else is a common denominator in this thing?
The payer.
The person that's paying back the debt and the interest. So guess what you are? An asset to the bank. Yep. And you just keep making payments. And so basically what happens is you got money coming in and it's flying out the door. This credit card, student loans, student loan payments. And you can't forgive that. You are you can't even shake through that. So all these things, and you start to realize oh, I got money coming in and it's just going out to all these different places, and it's like death by 1,000 cuts. So whether you make 150, whether you make 100, whether you make 75, 50, whatever. And that's why when you see some of these articles where it's like 6 figures still check to check, and it's only because the person just got nicer things now. They riding around, in the Benzo. They riding around.
Yep.
Probably have more student loan debt. They probably have lifestyle creep that's done creeped in because they've worked hard to get where they are. And so now they have a certain lifestyle that they're trying to keep up. Then they got a nice house or mortgage, you know what I'm saying? Like, that they responsible for. And then when you throw kids in the mix, if they got a family, then you got daycare. You got and so when you start doing the math, you're like, oh, okay, this is real. Like, you ain't got no more money, and then you check the check.
Yeah. It kind of makes me think about, as I went through this process of finding housing in a very competitive market like Boston. I was thinking specifically about on housing, especially they look at a number of things, and income is one of them. But income isn't the only thing for a reason. They don't only look at your income and say, okay, this person makes 6 figures. Well, cool. All right, well, just give it to them. There's a reason they're asking for a credit, this or that. You know what I'm saying? Did you have a previous landlord that we can talk to? It's because, like you said, I'm noticing, my takeaway from that is that's probably true with, housing is just, it's relevant because that's probably your biggest expense, but just for most things, housing and beyond, if you have the income, there's usually no further qualification. You get what I'm saying? Like, oh, okay. And so it's up to you to still be able to say, okay, yes, I'm making this money. That don't mean I got to spend and I can spend it all. They're going to let me. They're going to certainly let me come spend it with them because I make the money. So I guess like what they're going to be saying, that's normal. Like, it's normal to well, I don't know if it's normal to make that much, but it's normal to, if you're making that much, I don't know if it's normal to be talking like we're talking about budgeting, putting away 401k, Roth, and
Pay
I think it's
yourself
normal to
first.
say,
Pay
I
yourself
don't know.
first.
Mm-mm.
Get 6 12 month emergency fund, run rate, invest, open up a brokerage account, max out your 401k if you can, or build your way up. Really just build up some money for yourself for your future. And why all the while make more money. And so yeah.